Guys. Give me just a second. All right. I think you can hear me now. My name is Danielle Novice. I'm a mentor and realtor here with Texas United Realty. So tonight's presentation is brought to you by me. And I hope that you guys enjoy it. I've got put together some really cool and interesting things for you guys to think about, to look over. This is meant to motivate you to get you pointed in the right direction, or a direction, even for that matter. Get your juices flowing, your real estate juices flowing, and all that good stuff, and get you motivated and all that good stuff.
Kelly, you want a two-piece?
Uh-oh, we can hear your order, ma'am. I'm sorry. Let's see. See if we can mute them here. Oh, not sure what happened. Okay, but it went away. When you go live. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. When we, uh-oh, come on, internet. Where focus goes, energy flows, guys. So when we think about these different specialties that we can get into, we want to talk about, what do you already kind of are you involved in? It could be a profession that you were previously in, maybe something that your child is into, maybe a organization, like if you're a part of that PTO or something like that, different things like that, that maybe you're already connected to, and this is just a way for you to get into that more and to create that to be your specialty. Again, this goes with what is something that you're familiar with. Maybe you've received down payment assistance before, so it's something that you're aware of because you went through a program similar like that. So just kind of be, thinking about anything that you've already kind of experienced, or something that maybe a sibling or a child that is in the military, for example. It would be really easy to kind of go through them and find out about their events and to go to those kind of things, okay? Really, more than anything, this is meant for you to stand out and meant for you to have a specialty. Obviously, if somebody, a regular old person, came up to you and said, hey, I want to buy a $400,000 house and I'm not a veteran, you would still obviously help that person. But what's cool about having a niche is that you're able to focus in an area and really become an expert in that area, and this helps to build with branding. And so I'm kind of going to get into that as well too, and give you guys some ideas. I plan on going through like the pros and cons of each and how to kind of navigate through each as well too. Okay, guys? So here are some of the choices. Whoops, that we have that you guys can go through. We've got a new construction, veterans, first-time home buyers, um, investors, retired individuals, divorces, avoiding foreclosures, REOs, apartments, leasing, owner financing, heroes and first responders, special programs, relocation specialist, listing agent, ugly houses, language and culture, afterlife, commercial property, commercial real estate, and fun branding, which that one is probably my favorite, is the fun branding. So let's get into this. So first off, new construction. All right, I'm going to suggest, if you just have nowhere, you don't know where to start, we're going to start with newhomesource.com. Okay, that is the biggest platform that we have as agents for us to be able to kind of look for new construction for our clients. So this will help you to know kind of what is in the area in which you're trying to focus on. Okay, of course, obviously, if you're driving in and out of your neighborhood and you see new construction over and over again, you're obviously going to want to go and give them a shout and go and visit them. So you want to visit these builders in person. You're going to want to visit them over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. In this case, I'm not going to lie, spending a little bit of money will make you a lot of money later on. So if you go there several times, maybe one time you bring donuts, maybe one time, another time you bring, some little treats.
Is this us? Yeah. This is our leader.
Muted somewhere. Oh, they've got to come up with a better.
I don't know.
Give me a second, guys. It's tough when you got to go through and try and find each person individually and mute them. Found them. And I think it's because it happens so quickly that it takes a while for them to even catch it. Okie dokie. So you want to get familiar with the product. You want to go by there several times. You want to get a copy of their floor plan. You know, want to know what their price points are. Offer to do an open house for them. They would I would be happy for you to do open houses. If some of them say no, that may be the case with them, but there are others that will say yes. I know Angela Homes is somebody that definitely wants you to go and do an open house. So you're promoting their product. They're happy for you to do that. Go and visit these new construction homes multiple times. Many times they're in different phases with the homes that they're constructing. Go through there and take videos and put it on social media on all the different platforms that you have. You could take various pictures of different ones and maybe take a picture of one, maybe do a video of another. Go every so often. You can't just go to the new construction one time, put it up on your Facebook and say, oh, well, I'm a new construction specialist when you only did it one time. You've got to be consistent with it. You need to go out there several times. Not just that, they need to know your name. Those new construction folks, just because they don't have, obviously they can't put you down on a contract for another client there, although I've seen that happen because the relationship has been developed so much that they will call you, but maybe sometimes they'll ask you to kick back 1% to the client to make the numbers work for them. But even so, there's times that they have a house that needs to be sold. So it's so important to make that connection with those new construction agents, which likely there's only about 2 to 4 in there at any given time, you know, and they all just kind of rotate. If you go in there and develop those relationships and they get to know you, bring them lunch, you know, buy some pizza and bring them lunch, maybe give them a little gift card, maybe bring a goodie basket, things like that. It may take a little bit of money and a little bit of consistency, but man, they'll send you clients that, you know, hey, they need to sell their house. I can't put you down on a contract for this, but I can, you know, refer you out for the house. I know I've even gotten some business by saying, hey, I speak Spanish if you need some help with that. And they're, you know, they want to call and get that assistance. So reach out to them, build those relationships. It does take time, okay? So obviously there's 30,000 agents out there, okay? So you need to go by and make yourself known, very well known, okay? Veterans. Veterans is a great avenue to reach out to. It does have its difficulties sometimes, okay? In regards to, especially right now, I'm dealing with a veteran that, poor guy, he's, you know, having to ask for, obviously, fees that they can't pay for, legally that they can't pay for. And so it makes it a little bit difficult in this market. But this is a wonderful thing for you to be able to reach out to. I would go to like recruiting centers and pass out your information and build those relationships. I would get on social media and make advertisements specifically geared towards veterans. And then of course I would go to the different companies or community outreach groups that are for veterans as well too, and leave your card, leave your information, all that good stuff. If you know of a form of platform where veterans get together, you're going to want to advertise them there. And the biggest issue or part that I would say that you would really need to focus on is making sure that you have the right lenders that are aware on how to do the veteran loans, okay? Many are not well versed in it. Maybe they do a few a year, but they don't really do a whole lot. So I would find somebody that's just as focused as you are. And I would start with with the Federal Navy Credit Union. They are super awesome at their interest rates. There is just nobody that can beat them. So I would ask, you know, maybe reach out to them, go to their office, hand out your card. Again, build that relationship. Don't just go once, go 6 times, okay? Start to develop that relationship, and you would be surprised how, you know, everybody kind of sticks together. They're obviously tight knit, you know, it's like a sibling kind of thing, you know, everybody's kind of looking out for one another. And so your name could definitely start to get passed around through the veterans. So that's a wonderful thing to focus on. Let's move on to the next. The very popular first-time home buyers. This is one of my favorite, but because I love first-time home buyers, I love the excitement, I love the saving part of it and the joy and all the emotions that happen with it and all that good stuff. So first-time home buyers are great. Obviously, you're going to be doing providing a lot of education, a lot of guiding. all that good stuff. Um, Obviously, first-time home buyers are going through the process right now, especially if they're barely getting on the horse during this time of we're losing our minds here in in Houston due to our market. But first-time home buyers, it's a hit and miss sometimes because they're first-time home buyers. They don't have the education, so they don't know what they need, right? So here you are helping somebody out, telling them what they need, helping them with credit repair, helping them or pointing them in the right direction for credit repair. Here's how much money you need to save. Here's the kind of credit score you need to have, all that good stuff, right? And so they're not always ready right now when you're ready to roll. Okay. And so it's a long process sometimes I've had clients that it takes them 2 or 3 years to get their credit up and get their money saved. So it is a patient process that you'll need to take with that. And this is probably the most saturated uh, niche that you'll find because it's so common, but very rewarding. One of my favorites. Investors, the before and afters are so exciting. So investors are usually not very loyal to pretty much any realtor, okay? It is a rarity that you will find that they are loyal, but because they're just looking for the next deal. Whoever can help them find the next deal, that's who they're going to work with, okay? So if you can find them the next property, they're happy to work with you. Now, the thing is that with an investor, you may be submitting many offers, okay? And it may be a lot of low ball offers. Right now in this market, so, they're not winning too much unless it's with cash, okay? Which at times that's what's winning as well too, but I'm still seeing cash offers in this current market, still being full price offers. So, I almost say that investors are a dime a dozen. Um, there's just so many out there. I would make sure that you're working with one that is seasoned, one that has done a few transactions, versus somebody that's just starting off and just joined the late night, infomercial. We're going to teach you how to flip houses kind of stuff. Usually they don't execute. It's a lot of window shopping and they never really get things done. So kind of be aware of that. You also need to make sure that they have either some form of proof of funds or they've have already been approved with a hard money loan. And you'll want to build your roster of hard money investors as well too. And hard money is meant for those that are flipping properties. It's typically about 20% that's required of the investor for them to be able to fully finance the home. And hard money works as cash. So they're able to purchase these homes and flip them and get them sold and all that good stuff. Um, uh, I am not a big fan personally of investors, only because I don't like writing the silly lowball offers. And although sometimes they do get accepted, just depending on the property. But it's a lot of work. Initially, mind you, when you're buying this ugly house, right? When you're buying the ugly house, you're making 3% of that, and you're like, oh, well, that was 100,000, so that wasn't very much, right? But when they get it all nice and pretty and they put it on the market, they use you as the realtor. So they help, you help them buy the ugly one. Once it's all fixed up and pretty, then they want to use you as a listing agent. So, you're getting 2 transactions done there. You'll just have to be careful because obviously an investor is trying to save money as well too. So it's very possible that, they may ask you for a discount. So just be aware of that. Okay. But it's, still, um, what I don't really care for so much about the investors is that I don't get that emotional part that I do with the first time home buyers. And investors are very black and white. It is what it is. These are the numbers. They're not emotional. They're looking at simply how things work, which is totally cool. It's just that I like the emotional part about real estate. So, um, the retired folks. So this is a wonderful niche as well too. And there's so many people. You can do some farming in an area. You can use like a Remind to find out, the age of a particular person or, person that lives in that home. And you can continuously go and market to them. A couple other ways that you can market as well too is going to like a senior citizens gatherings or the nursing homes and stuff like that. And just handing out your card, maybe going and filling up the candy bowl there, maybe sponsoring something with them, maybe a fun, night or craft night or something like that that they may have. Um, Several different things like that. Now, I will say you will need to be patient because I there could almost guarantee you they do not know how to use majority of electronics. You're going to have to get in your car. You're going to have to drive down there for them to sign one piece of paper, and all that good stuff, and take your time and slow down and help them with their glasses because all these things. Um, but it's very rewarding. It's very sweet. I enjoy it very much. You meet some really, really sweet people. Of course, you meet some grumpies as well too sometimes. But very rewarding. So it's a fun little thing for you to get into, and they don't have a whole lot going on. So for you to go over there and to start giving some attention there, it would be very welcomed. And when they need that help, they will definitely reach out because you've created a friendship. So divorce, divorce clients. There's a few ways that you can get some business through here. I've heard agents actually getting some business from the singles groups or whatever, the Houston singles or whatever, right? And they're like, I'm not even here looking for anybody. I'm just looking to see if anybody wants to sell their house. So I don't know how much energy I would put into that personally, but it might be worth putting an advertisement up in the new the singles whatever group kind of thing, and hey, and you need to sell your house and blah blah blah. Another thing that you can do is contact divorce attorneys. And of course, obviously, divorces are filed and they are public knowledge. So you could reach out to those individuals as well too, and start to provide send those mail outs, do those door knocking, make those phone calls, and just provide your services. I don't think I would call or knock on the door and say, "Hey, I heard you guys are getting divorced. Do you need a realtor?" So I wouldn't actually handle things that way, but I would just continuously provide my service and be of service. This can be a sticky situation, guys. I've been a part of these kind of transactions, and boy, you better know how to mediate some things because you are in the middle of chaos. Some people are cordial with one another, but obviously, in most cases, somebody is a little bit more childish than the other. So I've had situations where, oh, well, Danielle, she's not answering the phone. I'm not signing anything because she doesn't answer, and then I've got to call her and be like, please answer, just answer the man so he can sign the stuff so you can finish this. And so it's the back and forth kind of thing. And it was even that particular scenario was crazy. Like the guy was like, I just won't show up to closing. I'm like, oh God. And he's like, what? So put it on foreclosure, put it on my record. I don't care. Hey, that's fine. I'll deal with it for 7 years. I'm like, wow, you're self-destructive. So you got to be careful. There's some crazies out there. So it will definitely give you some gray hairs. So be careful going into that, okay? So avoiding foreclosure, again, another public thing that's put out there of houses that are under foreclosure. The best way for you to get this is from contacting a title person that could possibly give you a foreclosure list, especially if they are a title company that specifically deals a lot with investors and things like that. They'll have access to all the foreclosure lists. You can reach out to these folks before they actually have their house on the foreclosure steps. I don't know that this is happening at this moment, but I expect this to happen in the next coming months because how the whole forbearance and all this stuff is going away. I would get prepared for this. And it's best for that homeowner to walk away with a clean slate, even if they barely made anything or nothing at all, than for them to sit there for 7 years with a foreclosure on their record. And then it's difficult for them to do anything. It just really messes up their whole picture of when they're trying to rent, when they're trying to buy a car. It's just a nightmare. So it's really best that they just walk away with a clean slate. Some are so nervous, they don't move forward at all. Like they just wait until things, are completely crap. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you had just put the house on the market when you had gone into foreclosure, you had a certain amount of days that you could have maybe done a even cash sale, closed in a week or two, fantastic. Um, maybe even do a financing thing, but perhaps with that, you'd have to talk to the bank and say, hey, here's what's going on. Give me a little bit more time. I'm trying to sell the house. And the bank would rather work with you than to put it into foreclosure because foreclosure is very expensive. It's very time consuming. And to be honest with you, in most cases, if that client has gotten to the auction steps that their house is about to be foreclosed on, they've really let it go. It's been like 6 months since they've made a payment. Because trust me, the bank doesn't start doing foreclosure for like 1 month or 2 months. Of course, they have the legal right to, after one missed payment, for them to file foreclosure, but typically they don't. They wait until about 6 months because they're trying at all costs for you to work it out, come up with the money, do something, okay? Because they don't want to deal with a foreclosure. So you can try and catch those folks and also maybe do some advertisements on social media and things like that, so that way you can get the business from that as well too on foreclosures, and people know where to turn. Many times it's not that the person doesn't want to do something about it, it's that they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do. And the truth is they should sell their house and move into a rental for now, because if they don't have the money to catch up, that's going to be their solution. Okay. And especially if they hope to one day own a house later on in the future. All right, REOs, real estate owned property. That means the bank owns it, okay? It went into like that foreclosure, basically, the bank owns it. And so this is almost the same thing as a foreclosure, but this is a different way of doing it. So the previous one we were talking about were people that already lived in the home and we're like, hey man, don't walk away with nothing, or at least wipe the slate clean, right? In this case, you would be registering with asset managers that they hold the properties that have already gone into foreclosure and they need realtors to put them live on the market for them. Okay, here's one of the websites to one that you can sign up for. That's one of the most popular ones, but Google is your friend. So type in REOs into your Google, and there's different companies that you can sign up for and receive these assets. Okay, if you're in a more populated area, you'll get more business than you will if you're in a less populated area. Okay. Again, I don't think it's hot and popping right now, but I think it will be in the next coming months. So it's good for you to sign up. Um, I will say it's not the most luxurious of positions, guys. To be honest with you, when you're in this position, you're typically making like 1% commission as the listing agent, okay? But your phone is ringing, and so you've got lots of buyers calling that you're obviously making 3% commission on them when you help them find a home, okay? This does have a form of time commitment as well too, the REOs. So typically they'll require you to go out to the property, check on it once a week or once every 2 weeks, go out there and take a picture, go out there and make sure it's taken care of. It can be a little bit frustrating because with these REOs, they do require that you leave the listing as active the entire time that it's being processed, which could be anywhere with the mass amount of red tape that they have, could be anywhere from 2 months to 6 months on most cases, okay? So just kind of be mentally prepared for that when you go through that, and remember the commission and things like that. But I will tell you, because of the price points and all that good stuff, your phone will blow up with buyers. So it is a avenue to get business. Apartment locators. I love apartment locating. I think it's one of the most best things that you can do with the least amount of energy. So personally, if you can't get out there, you don't like this Houston traffic or the Houston heat that's coming this summer, and you're just like, man, I need to make some money, and I can't be out there, right? You maybe don't have the time, maybe you don't have the energy, whatever it may be. You have a free account. Every agent has a free account with apartment data. If you have not signed up, I suggest that you do. Go on to apartmentdata.com. There's a phone number there. You will call it. 9 out of 10 times they don't answer. You'll leave a message with your information and they will get back to you and help you set up your account. Okay. The commission is just different. Sometimes it'll depend on how long the lease is that they've, that client has signed up for. And most times it's a full month's rent. If not, it's a half month's rent, things like that. The nicer the place, the more the commission is. So I've what I love about it is you don't have to show the client anything. Let me kind of put this into a nutshell for you how this goes. Okay. So let's say you put up an advertisement on Facebook, right? Let me know if you need a list of apartments. I'll send it out to you, right? So somebody responds, I need an apartment. Fantastic. Let me send you a list. What's your email address? A name and email address. You send it out. It notifies you when they've looked at the list. Give them a call and say, hey, did you look over the list that I sent? Oh, yes, we're going to look this weekend and go and check out some apartments. Fantastic. Make sure you put my name down on the sign-in card there when you go. Follow up with them come Monday. Hey, how'd it go? Did you guys, fill out an application? Yes, we did. We're going to, find out something in the next 2 to 3 days. They're going to let us know. Fantastic. You follow up with them again via phone call. How'd it go? Did you get approved? Yeah, we did. Thank you so much. We made sure to put your name down. Fantastic. Can I get some information from you? I just need the apartment name, how much your rent was, how long did you sign your lease for, a little bit of demographic information like that. And then you go ahead, say thank you very much, right? And then send in your invoice to the apartment complex, and then your check comes into the brokerage, and then the brokerage cuts you your portion or whatever after the fees. And you literally didn't have to see anybody's face whatsoever. Okay. Pros and cons of this, right? So one of the cons is that it may take you a little while to get that paycheck. Sometimes they want that client to be living there at least 3 months because they don't want them to skip out on the rent, then pay 1 month or 2 months and then leave, and then they paid you a commission, so they lost out on money. Okay. Sometimes you may have difficulty getting paid. You may have to be behind them and behind them and behind them and calling and calling and calling, but they owe you money. There's even been times that I have showed up in person and they're like, oh, dang it, ma'am. Like, oh, yes, exactly. Where's my money, right? Especially when you're talking about $1,000, like you have $1,000 that I need, right? So even some of the crappy apartments, guys, like, it's still like $1,000 because it's even hard to find like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath for less than even $700. A 2-bedroom is close to 1,000. So mind you, 1 month's full month's rent, there's $1,000, guys. So this is a really wonderful little hidden gem that I think is really wonderful for you to make money on. I know it's not as glamorous as you thought it would be with the, buying and selling and stuff, but geez, it could be really good money for really minimal work. So even less paperwork for us as a brokerage as well too as to what we require. All right, leasing homes kind of goes hand in hand with that, but this is a little more time consuming. I don't know if I would spend a whole lot of energy here. I would definitely say, pay your dues in here, know how it works, because eventually a friend or a family member is going to need the help with this. Some people feel comfortable with this. I know that there are some agents out there that have loads of work from this. They either help property management companies, or they sometimes their property management companies themselves, which I don't believe we do that as a brokerage here. And besides, that would mean doing, evictions and, handling late payments and work orders and all that kind of stuff. So it can be very much a headache anyhow. But leasing is a great way for you to just make, some money, get familiar with the process, all that good stuff. But I do know some agents that literally make a living just by doing leasing. So that's something that you could get into and start focusing on. And this would kind of go hand in hand with investors as well too, because obviously they need to rent out their properties to make some money to line their pockets with, right? To make a profit. Owner financing. This is one of my niches. I enjoy owner financing because it gives people a solution. All too often, I was running into folks that they're like, man, I've got, $70,000 saved up, but my credit sucks, and they're like, they just could not fit into the box of being able to qualify for a traditional mortgage loan. And so owner financing gives us that solution. So there's an owner financing feature in our MLS. So you can send out whatever is available there. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot, but it is there. And I mean, there's some owner financing that goes up to like $1 million. Okay, so it's sometimes it's about being patient. So that's one way of doing owner financing is when there's an individual that is selling their home, they either own their home outright and they could actually even sell their home even though they have a mortgage loan on it. They can do what's called a wraparound loan. So mind you, they still have a mortgage on it, but they can still sell it to a person that wants to buy it and do it with owner financing terms. Okay. Now, in this point, I would say we would need to make sure to have a note servicing company, because what happens if that person that's living in the property doing the owner financing is making their payments, but let's say the owner of the property is not making the payments to the mortgage company, which is what they should be doing. With the note servicing company, we would make sure we would make that buyer would be making all of their payments to that note servicing company, and then the note servicing company would be responsible for paying the landlord or seller, and then the mortgage company as well too, to make sure that monies go exactly where they're supposed to go. Okay, so there's also third-party owner financing, which is another alternative. It would allow a client to buy any house that they so desire, as long as they have usually between 15 to 20% down. There are third-party financing companies that offer investors that will purchase whatever property is that they so desire. The offer would be under the investor's name. The investor would close on the house, and then so there would essentially be two closings. So that would be the first one. And then now that investor is the owner of the property. And so they're going to have a second closing where the end buyer is now going to be the owner of the property, because they're going to do owner financing. So, and many times either that investor purchased it cash or they purchased it with a conventional loan, and they did that wraparound loan where they owe the mortgage company, but they're also selling it out to you. Okay, and so again, a note servicing company would be needed there. So this is pretty cool for people that just don't have documentation, because to be honest with you, they don't ask you a whole lot of questions. It's really kind of, do you have the money or not? And do you have identification for the day of closing at the title company? So if you got the money, you can rock and roll. Okay. So great alternative. The reason why this works so well for me is because I ran into personally a lot of Spanish speaking clients. Many of them didn't have proper documentation of what they needed to be able to qualify for a mortgage loan. They hadn't done their income tax returns, different things like that. And so this allowed me to create a solution for them and not simply just throw that client in the trash when, mind you, they had $70,000 to put down, right? Heroes and first responders. So teachers, paramedics, EMS, police officers, firefighters, and those in the medical fields like nurses. So I would say start with looking into programs for that offer like the Homes for Heroes. Not every single lender offers this, so you may need to make a few phone calls and you may need to search for them. Remember, Google is your friend. Find the different programs that really help these guys. More than anything, it is the Homes for Heroes that is a program that is for them. Many times there are different ones that come and go and things like that, so I would check with that. But this is a wonderful way for you to kind of do some advertising and target, right? So mind you, for the kids' school, if you're part of PTO or something like that, bring some lunch one day. If you have a friend or a sister or a cousin or somebody that's a nurse, like, hey, can I come and bring your doctor's office, some lunch one day? Or can I bring them some goodie bags? And you staple your card to all the little goodie bags, and they could be from the dollar store kind of goodie bags, okay? Even the paramedics, I mean, like the firefighters, if you see that their truck is parked there and there's no emergencies and they're just hanging out in there, you can walk in there and, hey, guys, I'd like to order you pizza for tomorrow or this afternoon or whatever. Do you mind? And here's my card. And, so you're really relationship building. That's what's happening. So you got to, take the energy, take the time, go out there and interact with them and tell them what kind of specialist you are. You help out You know, I focus on firefighters, police officers, things like that. And so I would definitely, this is a great niche to get into. Okay. And what a wonderful, beautiful thing to do as well, too. It's very rewarding. Um, Special programs. If this is another niche that I kind of get into as well too. I really love programs. When I bought my house, oh, like 13 years ago, there was a HOPE program for the city of Houston, and I received $45,000 in down payment assistance towards my home. So I know the beauty of a down payment assistance program. So I love them. I like to, you know, talk about them all the time and share them with people and all that good stuff. Not everybody qualifies for down payment assistance programs, but it's one of my favorites. It feels like you won like the house lottery sometimes. So there's the City of Houston and their down payment assistance program. Um, if you look that up, it would be HBAP, Home Buyers Assistance Program. Okay. They do, the word Harvey is in there for this program because they particularly wanted it to be used towards those victims or people that had experienced some hardships due to Harvey. Another thing that I would suggest as well too is getting, if programs are going to be your thing, give a call to NACA, NACA.com. Check them out. They're a beautiful program. I love what they do. They're really about creating generational wealth. They want people to be homeowners. What I love about them is that they qualify you based on your job history and your rental history. They do not go based off of credit. No, I will say it is a process. All of these programs are a process, okay? But they're well worth it. Like for instance, the City of Houston, they're offering $30,000. Well, I don't know anybody else that's just handing out $30,000. You know, especially for filling out some papers and going through some things and dealing with a little bit of a headache. It's totally worth it. It can feel chaotic because you're handling life as you're going through all this paperwork. Okay. You do have to be, for NACA, you do have to be you have to take a class and go through that with them. I suggest you go onto NACA.com. Their phone number is on there. Give them a call and ask them when their next class will be. They have been doing online classes, so you can be a preferred NACA realtor as well too, okay? The other big program that's out there is the Home Partners of America. So they do a rent with option to buy. So if somebody is on the fence, they don't know if buying is for them, go to homepartners.com, check it out. Look at what those houses are going for as far as like a monthly rent payment. So what NACA does is purchase the property for the client, whatever they're interested in purchasing. And then NACA says, okay, I'm sorry, Home Partners says, okay, you need to live in there for a minimum of 1 year with a lease. After that year of the lease, you're able to purchase that property, or you're able to change your mind and go ahead and go with a different property. Okay, so you can go with a different property and you wouldn't receive a penalty. They do have fees. They do have like a minimum credit score of 520 as well too. So yes, Storehouse does have some good programs. So Home Partners of America is a really great one. And it allows them, if they really like the house, but they were just not in a position to be able to buy at the moment, it allows them to lock in that house and to buy it later on. Or maybe they even buy that house and see what it's like, and then they realize, man, there's some problems with this house. I don't really want it. So in the end, they can decide that they didn't even want it. They can let it go and buy another house and things like that. So it's a pretty cool program. So that's definitely something to check into. Okay, and you'd be surprised. Your phone will put up an advertisement on Facebook, okay, about rent with option to buy or rent to own kind of stuff like that. Oh my gosh, your phone will blow up, okay, or your messenger or your inbox or whatever. If you're feeling lonely, do that. Relocation Specialist. This is a pretty neat one, and this is actually one that I think is very hot right now. Of course, we have people moving from all kinds of different states and stuff, all kinds of different cities, and so I would get in contact with some of the major corporations that are out there that maybe would be having people moving back and forth and continuously reaching out to them. But I would even run some advertisements, guys, in other cities. Like, it wouldn't be too crazy of you right now to get on Craigslist Craigslist and make some advertisements to California and show off our properties. Mind you, maybe they're going through their Craigslist or whatever, or their online Facebook marketplace, right? And they're like, man, this is a nice house. How is it this cheap? And then they realize it's in Texas, right? Like many of them have. So I would definitely reach out to these different cities and things like that and run advertisements in those cities to help to get those people moving here. Okay. So not because we don't have enough, guys, if you haven't seen the traffic. Listing agent, which is probably one of the most difficult ones for us to do and the one that everybody wants, right? Listing agents have a few ways of getting their clients, but a lot of it is really about the repetition of reaching out to that client, because obviously you reach out and they're like, well, we're going to wait until after the holidays, or, oh, you know, my daughter is finishing school, she's in her senior year, and then we're going to talk about it. So these things can take time. So it takes time for you to build that pipeline and continuously reach out to them. And that's why a CRM system is so helpful for you to be able to go back to that client and say, oh man, I didn't reach out to so-and-so since like 2 months ago. Let's reach out again. Just a friendly hello, something like that. Okay. Farming is going to be your best bet here. You need to focus on an area. We can't just be floundering out and not knowing what side of town or what subdivision or whatever it may be, okay? Well, let's specialize and focus somewhere. With that, I would suggest that you do door knocking or leaving flyers at the door. I would strongly suggest that you do that. Door knocking will probably be a little bit better. I would say it's getting better, especially now that the whole mask mandate thing is kind of getting loose. You know, think about even just doing the flyer, okay? But consistency. We can't just leave one flyer and be like, it doesn't work. No, we've got to keep up with it, okay? Cold calling. Some people like to do cold calling. I'm not a big fan of it. It makes me feel like, ugh. So but you can do that. You can purchase a list for the property. You can get on Remind as well too, that you can get some phone numbers through there, get some scripts together and all that good stuff, and dial away and try and get those listings. Many times agents like to go through old listings. So typically, if a listing goes into expired, terminated, their phone will blow up. Like the next day, that family, that owner of that house that just changed the status that you had, I mean, my goodness, their phone just blows up with like 19 agents calling and, oh, I can sell it better. And I'm, you know, I've got this and that. And I'm the magic agent over here, right? But nobody ever goes by, guys. Nobody ever goes by. Nobody takes the time to get in their car and go by and leave something. It could just be a little bag of popcorn with a string around it and says, oh, it's just popping by, right? Cute. Little dollar store goodie bag, right? Little sticky note on their house, a little flyer that you made, whatever. Go by, knock on their door, make the conversation. If you're too freaked out, leave something at their door. Okay. So rarely do people actually go by. They get tons of mail, they get tons of calls, but nobody goes by. So take the time to go by. And I would say even grab the list of something that was from a year ago, 2 years ago. You know, maybe they thought about it, their house didn't sell, they were being ridiculous with the price. Well, today's your lucky day, sir. You can actually be ridiculous and actually get the price that you wanted, highly likely in this market right now. Okay, so I would reach out to them. And of course, the mail outs, more and more, the mail outs are getting thrown in the trash. I don't know if I would spend too much money in that, to be honest with you guys. So I'm trying to talk fast. I know you got to get to sleep and stuff. Ugly houses. I don't know if y'all are aware, but you know, they're in like what is this, like 45 and 59 and like Cavalcade and like Collingsworth and like Cross Timbers and like right there in the central where 610 is, right inside the loop. Even though it's not that nice like the real Heights is, man, people don't realize how much money they're sleeping on. They're sitting there holding on to grandma's house, or grandma's living in that house, right? And the house is falling down around her. And grandma's like, no, this is my house. I love my house. Grandma, Your house is falling down around you and you don't have the money to fix it. Grandma, do you realize that your house is worth $200,000? This crappy falling down thing is worth $200,000. Grandma, please move. Okay. But grandma doesn't know. Grandma doesn't know that bigger, better is out there. Grandma doesn't know that she can grab her same 200,000, go and she could still get a mortgage loan. Go and put a large down payment on another mortgage. How about just go and buy another house cash? I literally just did this with a client this past year. She had a little house, a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house there in Jennifer Harbor, off of I-10 in like Lockwood. Little cute little bungalow house. She sold it for 185,000. She went a little further east to like the suburbs, bought her a cute little house, way more spacious, way more cuter, way less problems, central AC, because before she had window units, right? And she bought it cash for 165. So she still had herself $20,000 left over for her to do whatever she wanted. She ended up buying a car and doing some other things. So, but grandmas don't realize this, or there's family members or whatever holding on to the house, trying to keep this house because it's grandma's house. You need to let it go because it's worth so much more. So, but people don't realize what they're sitting on. And many of them are like, well, where am I going to go? Anywhere but here, because your house is falling down around you. Okay. Language and culture. This is another niche that I kind of fall under because I speak Spanish. I reach out to this, the Spanish speakers. So find different ways that you can connect with them. Go to their community resources, right? Like I know that there's even a Chinese like community center and things like that, that they even give tours around for Chinese or Asian individuals that come to Houston, and they give them a tour around Chinatown and, let them know all about the community and all that good stuff. I like to, go to my local, there's the grocery stores and things like that that are geared at Spanish speakers. I like to hand out my card. I mean, we're in the Spanish grocery store or whatever. Here's my card. Here's my card. So you'll know if of that demographic of those folks that you're aware of that speak the language and have that culture where they hang out. Go and hand out your card. Go and give them, your card and wear your shirt and reach out and be radical. Okay. You already speak the language. That's a great way. Run those advertisements in that language. If that's the case, that's who we're targeting. Do it. Like if I were trying to focus on, the Chinese community, I would be over there in 45 South. I would go to all those Asian grocery stores that are there, and I would be putting my card on every single one of those cars that is sitting outside of that Asian grocery store. Okay. So be a little radical with it. Think outside the box. So afterlife, this one can be a touchy one as well too, right? So what I do not want you to do is to go through the obituaries, guys, and be like, well, I'm gonna give them a call. Look at, Billy Bob passed away kind of thing. Do not do that. That is very much frowned upon, right? So I would really contact funeral home services, maybe people that offer home life insurance policies and stuff like that. Different avenues like that I would reach out to. Sometimes attorneys, right? The probate attorneys that are needed. Obviously title companies when they run into these issues and they need an agent as well too. So different things like that, but just be aware it can be very emotional. They just lost a loved one. Real estate can be very emotional. Sometimes it's really hard for them to let go. Okay. Commercial real estate. Now, this is a whole nother animal in itself. I'm gonna suggest that you have a conversation with Robert Griffin on this one because he is our commercial real estate person. I've done a few transactions, but it's not something I've dabbled in a whole lot. Commercial real estate is a whole nother animal. You'll hear people say that, or agents say that a lot. And that's because it really is. It has different working pieces as to how it functions. It's slower money, but it's better money because the price points are higher. But I also want you to remember to practice with caution because some people in real estate, in purchasing commercial real estate, have a lot of money, so they could sue you just for fun, okay? And they have the money to do so. So just be aware as you're moving through that. But I would reach out to commercial real estate, Robert Griffin, ask him like, hey, so if I was, you know, interested in getting into this, how would I start this? Obviously, you would start with businesses that have handwritten signs that, you know, oh, this business is for sale. I would even look on like the Facebook Marketplace. I would look on Craigslist. I would look on OfferUp and look for businesses that are for sale that they're trying to sell it on their own. Okay. You're obviously a realtor. You're going to get their name out there a whole lot more and you're going to get them rolling a lot faster than they are just putting it up on the Facebook. Okay. Last but not least, fun branding. I love fun branding. This is like some cool stuff that you can do, guys. So there's like, there's one girl, I forget where she's at, but she's the purple haired realtor. So she's hashtagging it everywhere. Her hair is literally purple. That's what she does. She walks around and does that. This girl, man, I can't remember. She did like 92 transactions last year or something ridiculous like that. Okay. She's done really great at branding. And there's another guy that I forget what his name is, but he's got his thing is the beard. I think it's like Ted Beard, and that's on his logo, on his card, on his shirts, on his everything. So, you know, think of something that you can use to brand yourself, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a physical characteristic of yourself. There are other people. You know, they'll a particular car, like a classic car or something. I know somebody else, they drive around some kind of purple vehicle or something like that. And so everybody's like really excited till we see them and where's your car at? And they get, you know, so different things like that. There's also agents, I'm sure you've seen it, where they offer a free moving truck when you use them. So there's also the 100, you know, tacos when you purchase this house, right? I even know an agent that is, she's so freaking cool and so radical. And she has branded herself as the potty mouthed realtor. And boy, can she cuss like a sailor, right? But that's her thing. And people like it. And people kind of like that raunchy, just real, just out there kind of thing. And mind you, she even does really radical things. Like she went viral for making, she did a photo shoot and she put a couple to model through the house. So she put them like in kind of intimate positions in a way to say like, you know, they were in their like workout gear, you know, or underwears, I believe. And they were like in the kitchen and like the wife was sitting on the counter and the husband's like feeding her the, you know, some pasta or something, I don't know. And so like, it grabbed a lot of attention, a lot of attention. So, you know, think outside the box, think about your branding, try and think of something unique or something fun. I know even a girl that she does the, her little motto logo thing is closing deals and heels kind of thing. So just kind of see what works for you and be a little radical with it. Be something that stands out, something that people can remember, right? So continuously do it. Use your little hashtags. Don't feel like you're shoving it down people's throats, okay, guys? Really and truly, you could put a picture of your dog having a lovely Sunday and then just hashtag realtor, you know? So just try and get your message out there. Let people know the branding is important and it takes consistency, guys. Here's my info in case you need me. My name again is Danielle Novice. I am a mentor and realtor here with Texas United Realty. There is my contact info. Feel free to take a picture, whatever you'd like to do. And I apologize for talking so much, guys. I know I'm a rambler, but I was really excited about all these topics. And hopefully it gets your wheels turning, like I said, and gets you motivated to start taking some action and getting out there and having some direction.
Which one of these are needed for designations?
Designations of what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like designations you can get training for. And
oh, where you can find like further
on.
information to be able to like get in depth to it. To each topic, yes. Is that what you mean? To be honest with you, each one will take its own hunting. I know that you had started a niche and you had to do some hunting to find just the right lender to help you with your niche. But because not all lenders do what you were looking for and you had to go out there and hunt for it, right? So equally it will take for you to hunt and dig into it. Mind you, I had nowhere for nobody to tell me where to go and find third-party owner financing to help my client. It was something that I came across and searched for and all that good stuff as I was trying to find the product for my client. So it'll just honestly, anybody's welcome to have a conversation with me so that way you can kind of get pointed in the right direction on what to do. But for instance, even, like the language and culture, I mean, there's no way for you, the best thing I could tell you to do is find somebody that speaks Chinese, a lender that speaks Chinese, find a title person that speaks Chinese, an inspector that speaks Chinese, and then get your running shoes on or whatever and get your cards together and go and put them on the outside of all the cars that are parked outside of that Chinese grocery store.
Okay, and I just want to say that there are designations that you can get added on to your
Oh, like
real
continuing
estate.
education.
Yeah, continuing
Oh,
education to
yes,
become certified.
yes.
Yes, there are designations. I got one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what you meant. Yes, there are. HAR is the best way I feel that can coordinate you to those. And some of them are even free, to be honest with you guys. If y'all look on HAR, they do offer some free classes. But yes, there's many things that you can get designated in, and certified in to help. Yes, relocation specialists, yes, and negotiation specialists and all that good stuff. So I would definitely say, Google is your friend, but also make sure to check HAR. And many times title companies will offer some of these things as well too. Mhm. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and for sticking with me through all this. And I hope I was of help. And you guys have a wonderful night and get some rest.